So I've been putting off doing these final 5 of Raiden's VR missions for a while, because I mentioned before that some of them get really hard. This is not one of the hard ones. This one is very easy to get first place on. It's nothing but the whole turret thing. Like, they give you some grenades on the side and all that, and your turrets can get destroyed if they take a lot of damage, but they never throw quite enough enemies at you to overwhelm you. There's a few spots where it gets close, but still not enough. Like, the only thing you really have to watch out for are dudes with rocket launchers. And at the end, they throw a grad at you. You don't even really need to pay attention to shooting down any of its missiles, because if you're taking, like, no damage up to this point, you can just kind of tank all those hits. No, like, I won animation for when you're holding the turret. You just kind of listen to the music and... Alright. Yeah, pretty easy to get first on this one, even though it's ranked as like a 4-star difficulty. VR Mission 17, on the other hand, is one of the 2 hardest VR missions in the entire game. So this VR mission just needs you to take out all enemies using only sub-weapons. And at first it's not too bad. Like, these guys, the normal soldiers here, only take 2 hits to kill with the homing missiles. And, you know, they have splash damage, so even when all these guys spawn, you can hit a bunch of them all at once. And you can just sit on a spawn point and just wail on these guys with rockets before they can really do anything. So it doesn't seem that bad at first, right? Well, it's not gonna stay that way for long. So the second area becomes significantly harder because you have 2 guys up on top with rocket launchers, and you have 2 fairly fast dual sword-wielding dudes. Yeah, see what's happening now? Part of the problem with this sub-weapon-only mission is that, you know, aside from the fact that you can't use your sword and you can't use any of your other weapons, it also means that you cannot parry at all. There is no way to defend yourself in this mission except for running and jumping away. Like, I guess you can still reflect bullets away with your sword when you're ninja running, but it's not the bullets that you're worrying about, it's all the melee attacks. Oof. Camera almost got me on that one. So, it's 3 rooms total for this VR mission, and the third one is the hardest one. Like, the final part is just kind of bullshit, because, like, you have 2 dwarf geckos, a gecko, and 2 raptors, and the raptors are the problem. It's not like their EMP attacks are the problem, it's easy to get away from those. It's that attack right there where they fire missiles. Using any of the sub-weapons stops you in place so that, you know, you can use them. But if you start doing that right when the raptors start firing their missiles, there is no way to get out of your sub-weapon using animation. And so you get nailed in the face with one rocket, and because you can't parry, because you can normally parry the rockets raptors shoot at you, once you get hit by one rocket, you get hit by the rest, and they take out a significant chunk of your health. And it's just dumb. This is a bad it is the worst designed submission or VR mission in the whole game, because it's built around a dumb limitation that is sub-weapons are clunky. Like, that is one thing I want them to fix, is if you're still going to have sub-weapons, you should probably be able to use them in a really fast way that doesn't stop you moving. Like, I always... For some reason... Oh, God. The sub-weapons make me think of, for a better implementation of them would be something like, I don't know, You know, you remember that PS2 Shinobi game? And how you could throw shurikens really fast all the time, and it would keep you moving? Something like that, but with grenades, I don't know. Oh, and if this dwarf gecko would have died right away, I would have gotten first place. The time limit for first place on this VR mission is 3 minutes 30 seconds. I have 3 minutes 35 seconds, yeah. So pretend I jumped around like an idiot like 2 less times, and that's first place. That's the difference. There's no way I'm going back to do first place on that. I hate that mission. Now, VR Mission 18 is the other super hard mission. People say that this mission is harder. I would prefer playing this one over and over again rather than 17, because this one is just really difficult combat. This is just several waves of enemies, but the whole thing is set to Revengeance mode, and you only have base health. You don't have any health upgrades, which is what makes this particularly difficult, because on Revengeance mode, enemies do a shitload of damage. Like, if one of these dwarf geckos jumped and just, like, bopped up against Ryan's head, it would take off about 1/3 of my health. The one advantage here is, since it's Revengeance mode, parry counters do a shitload of damage, so you can just parry counter one enemy once, and they're done for. Also, because enemy damage is so high, it also makes enemy-friendly fire do a ton of damage. Like when I did an execution on that first Mastiff and swung him around, when I was swinging him around, it hit the other Mastiff, and it, like, broke the armor on the majority of its limbs. And this wave coming up is the hardest wave, because it's 2 hammer bros and a damn dog. And the dog is the hard part, because it's got a railgun and it throws knives. You can see though, like, see, I just got hit by the knives, took off half of my health. The only good thing about baiting the dog into throwing all of its knives is if you can line up the dog so he's behind the hammer bros, which is what I did in this video. Because the friendly fire damage is so high that if the hammer bros get hit by even a single knife, they are dazed and you can execute them instantly. If they get hit by all the knives, or maybe 2 volleys of them, they will just keel over and die. This VR mission likes to throw, like, there's a couple of them that do this, especially in the DLC, where they just kind of throw in joke waves of just dwarf geckos. I mean, I guess it's nice. Make you relax for a little bit. Especially after that last wave, that is just kind of a nightmare. And then the final wave is also kind of a joke, because it's a single grad, and while the amount of damage a grad does on Revengeance, especially while you have no health upgrades, is pretty terrifying, like, you have all of your all of your extra weapons here. So you can just stun lock this guy for eternity with the Sai. And that's mission 18. That is probably the hardest VR mission in the whole game. First place. To get first place on this, you just basically just have to beat it. For best time for first place, it's 10 minutes. You can easily do this in like 5 or 6. So this one's fairly difficult. It's not on Revengeance mode. You just have to go through 3 sets of enemies, but you have to Zandatsu every single one? And that's where the difficulty comes in, because sometimes you have to be careful so that you don't accidentally kill enemies, because you just want to weaken them enough so that you can Zandatsu them. And if you're lucky, with this dog, you can execute him fairly quickly if you get him if you hit him enough times in a row. Unfortunately, this time the dog was just kind of slipping through my fingers over and over, so... So this is probably the hardest area for this mission. Tons of well, there are 4 dudes and a dog. And the dog doesn't come down unless you try to jump up to his level, or after you've defeated most of these guys. It's a good idea to use the pincers and just charge them up over and over, because it means you just be able to shrug off all of the attacks they're throwing at you. And also just because the charged up pincer blades are really good at weakening armor pretty quickly. And also since it, has a huge range, so you can just hit a ton of dudes at once. You do have to be careful though, because since the pincer blades do so much damage, it is possible to accidentally kill a guy if you're not careful. Once they've lost a few limbs, and it's a better idea to just kind of whittle them down with light sword attacks. Since by that time they probably have not much health left. That was an aerial parry counter. I haven't done too many of those. I usually just parry in the air. The timing just feels tighter for some reason when you're in the air. I can't actually verify that if it's actually, any tighter, but... it doesn't happen as much as parry counters on the ground, that's for sure. So if you manage to hit a dog with the full combo, uncharged with the pincer blades, it is possible to daze them very quickly. It's not like 100% every time, but the chance of dazing them with a full combo is pretty high. And the final area is just 4 dogs, which might seem familiar because, well, this is kind of the same area as Blade Wolf's 4th VR mission in the DLC. I mean, it's just dogs, though. Pincer blades wreck them pretty well. Since you have a lot more combat options than Blade Wolf, this isn't nearly as difficult. Oh! So yeah, if you are doing one of these missions where you have to Zandatsu every enemy, if you chop an enemy up and you run out of blade mode, and you still haven't pulled their spine out, that does count as game over and it forces you to restart, which is kind of annoying, but... See, full combo there and that dog got stunned. So I recorded all these VR missions like after I had recorded every other thing in the game. And it felt really weird coming back to play as Raiden after several weeks of playing either as Blade Wolf or Sam. It's kind of been a while since I've touched Raiden. And first place for this, I believe, is also somewhere around 8 or 10 minutes, so, just beating it is enough to get first place. And the final VR mission, Mission 20, is just getting to the waypoint without being caught. So you remember there was a previous VR mission where if you use AR mode you could find invisible platforms? Well, this VR mission also has those. And once you discover those, man, this VR mission becomes really easy despite it being ranked 5 stars for difficulty. Like, that's it! It's not even a particularly complicated route, you just gotta find those invisible platforms. And that's it for VR missions. I'm done with them. I will never have to play these hard ones ever again. Thank you for watching.